How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we have another episode of our previously in DBSCG series where we give it a week's news in one video at the end, so you can just see in one go rather than day by day what's happened during this week. And for this week, we have a lot of information, a lot of good information to go over, because we've finally seen every single card now in set 21, being all the cards, all the SPRs, even the secret rares, and we know the God Rare now as well. So we'll have a look at that in a bit. We also got the ban list as well, so we didn't actually get the ban list before we moved on to the TPs. So we do know now what's going to happen when this set drops, like what the list is going to be like, which is it is amazing. We'll go over that in a bit as well. We also have the premium pack promo revealed. We have started to see the TP promos, so slowly going those out now from yesterday, and we also have the week's information about this week's Webcam Locals. Remember, if I haven't said it before, from going forward, we've been doing Webcam Locals now on a Tuesday and Friday every week, starting at 7 p.m. BST, and we got the results from both of those, well, the top all decks played. Now, just so we can go over that information, so if you're interested, feel free to join, because the description has the Discord link if you want to go and check it out, and join up for the events, and all the information about how to join and all that is in there. So before we get onto the information from this week, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out greatly, helps the channel out greatly. And also you can hit the notification bell to get alerts to when my videos do drop, so that you're aware to go and watch them, or then to know that it's out, ready to watch later. Because we're on our way to 1,000 subs. We're so close to 700, which will trigger a giveaway and also bring us even closer to 1,000 subs. We're trying to get there by the end of the year, and pushing out quite a bit of content to just help people out and try and see if we can get there a little bit quicker. But that is all from me so far. So let's get into this week's reveals and see what we've got. So we'll start off with the specials, because we've seen the we've seen the yellow and red ones, which look really, really nice. And now we get to see the blue and the blue and green ones. There's no SPRs in the multicolor black, because we only get a few cards of those, and but I just seem to want to just make it to the 4 main colors and not really do anything like that. Like, it is sad that we don't get another black deck, but yeah, Bandai do what Bandai do. But so, two of the SPRs are it. So blue has 2 SPRs for the baby deck, being the 2 SRs, the big boss baby card, which looks actually quite nice, and then the other SR baby, which is when he's in his like Super Baby 2 form before he goes full on to baby. These look quite nice. I really like the baby ape. It looks really cool. Like, right nice. Not too much gold, I don't feel, but looks quite cool. And the other one is okay. Not amazing, but those are the SBRs for the blue baby deck. Then we get 2 SBRs also for the blue oob deck, and these kind of look pretty cool art-wise, but then the deck is pretty bad. Like, it's an interesting concept to involve like having interaction to do with your opponent's Z energy, but there's not enough in the deck to actually make it interesting. Like, the concept's amazing, but the deck, like what it's trying to do and how it tries to do it, is very, very poor. Like, there's so many cool ways they could have gone about doing it differently, but you have to have bad decks. Like, there's a bad deck in every set almost, and this just happens to be the really bad one so far. Like, this just seems the one to be. I would say this is the worst deck out of the set. People might disagree and go with one of the green ones being Cell, but I feel this Oob deck, like Cell, I feel like I'd probably take Cell 2 locals and actually try to outplay it, because it looks interesting, quite fun. But this deck just seems, just very, very poor, like poorly conceived, even though it had a great idea behind a mechanic for it. This seems like what most green decks, like from the set 15 green decks, were like just so bad to play. But the art on these two looks quite nice, and then we also have SPRs for green. So we got 3 SPRs in green, so a little bit less. I think the only it's green, yellow and green got 3 SPRs, and while blue and red got 4 SPRs. So that's the SPR, all the SPRs for that. And these ones look quite nice. Like, I know people have made jokes about the decision made having the same art as 2 other cards because it's from the same saga, and just basically the same thing, just getting closer and closer, like zooming in, like, and improving quality on the art, and it is actually quite nice, and it is quite a cool card as well. And then we got my favorite one from these 3 being the middle one, the SS Son Goku and SS Son Gohan, well, SS2 Son Gohan, Father than Solidarity, because it just looks really nice for an SPI. Like, I probably will pick up the play because I do like my green decks, and it doesn't power creep Faded Rivals too much, but it is another option along. It's more like an option alongside Faded Rivals that you can have, which is quite cool. And with a certain ban, this card isn't going to be that. This probably is a actual power creep now, considering one of the cards got banned. So we'll see that when we get to it. And a sell, yeah, is an alright. The card I don't feel is that great. Pretty lackluster, but yeah, it's an option for sell to have its sort of Faded Rivals version. But yeah, that's the SPRs. Then we we have these last secret rare as well. So last secret rare, I know a lot of people predicted it to be green because when they showed off the Goku, the Shenron, they showed off the Mechikabura, and Mechikabura was like two card numbers after Shenron, so it's either going to be it could be a blue one, it could be a green one, it could be a yellow one, because there are some pretty cool ones in the set. That would have been a blue, considering we got did we get blue in last set? Can't remember exactly, but we've got some good blue ones. A fair few good competitive blue ones. Yellow, maybe, because it was on the Frieza Goku saga. And then, then I had the green one. And the one we got was this one. So it was a new green secret rare, because green does have quite a few good secret rares. Like, some of them not as powerful as the others, but green does have quite a fair few options for its secret rares, which is quite nice. And like mostly everyone's having quite a limited amount. Like blue now has like 3. But like green's got so many for like you can use for different ways for how different decks perform, which I quite like about the color. And it's Son Goku Peace Resolution. So it's a 8 cost, 40k, 1 cost 10k combo. Ultimate, and it's got a permanent where if this card's front side is facing up in your Z deck, that's not a typo, in your Z deck, your leader gets 20k power, and if that card is not a Son Gohan childhood, negate that card's skills. So you might be wondering how do you get in your Z deck? That should surely a typo. It's not, because it has an auto, which is for one by paying 1 green, and if your leader is a green Saiyan, Earthling, or Namekian as the cost, so by paying 1 green and having your leader be one of those traits and be green. When this card is used in a combo from any era, choose up to one of your leader cards and switch it to active mode. That card gains triple strike for the battle. Place this card from your drop area in your Z deck face up at the end of the battle. Then remove this card in your Z deck from the game at the end of your opponent's turn. So essentially what it means is when you use it in a combo like aggressively, because you don't really use it defensively, and you pay that green, so it's actually costing you 2 unless you can free combo it by any means. Then you get to restand your lead, give it a triple strike for that battle, so that attack you're going in for a triple strike with lead, which is like kind of like a little bit reminiscent of the Reboot Gohan deck. So that's quite cool for any green, say an Earthling or Namekian deck. And then at the end of the battle, when all the combos go to drop, you then place that card from your drop into your Z deck face up to get that 20k boost defensively. If your leader's not the new Son Gohan childhood, then your skills can be negated on your leader, but you'll be like a extra 20k power on your leader for your opponent's turn, which is going to be hard to get over unless they want to put a lot of investment in, which is quite cool. And then at the end of your opponent's turn, after you've done this, well, you didn't get to restand. You restand your leader as well, so you get never out of never attack, but you're skillless unless you're the Gohan leader. And then that's a 35k swing, and then defensively you're at least 35 minimum, or unless you're Videl, you're technically 30k minimum. Or if you got a Z lead, that's 20k, 40k minimum. Defensive card, this makes it hard for your opponent to combo and kill you, unless they've got a huge power swing they can put through. So it's a really nice leader. One other thing I really do like, interesting doing it is playing this in Broly Surge, just because Broly Surge can then make use of it, because by how it's worded, at the end of the battle, it has to place in your drop to your Z deck, where before everything goes to drop, you get the option to Z charge one of the cards from your combo area. So if you do this, use the effect, and blah blah blah, and then at the end of the battle, decide to Z charge this card from your combo, so place it from your combo to your Z energy. You then all the cards go to drop, and you can't fulfill the rest of the auto because it's not in your drop to put from your Z deck. It specifically has to put from your drop to your Z deck to then be there. So if you Z charge it beforehand, it's not in drop at the end of the battle to put in the Z deck. So then with Broly Surge, then you can just pay drop a Z card, to get it back from your siege energy into your drop. And then the Broly Z leader, no, Broly Surge leader, can then, if it's a 3 or less life, use its effect during active battle to detach a card from underneath it to combo with any card from your drop. So you combo with this, and then pay an extra 1 energy to trigger the effect again and do that. So you can potentially get 2 free swings from your Broly Surge leader, with at least 2 of them being triple strike, and 1 of them being single strike, which is very, very cool. Or at least the other one being double strike, which is very, very cool. Pushing up on potential 8 damage in a single turn from your leader is pretty cool. Outside that is still a pretty good one, but there's not many green Saiyans that are great outside the new Gohan, and yeah, it's a pretty good secret though, nonetheless. But then you might be thinking, which will be the God Rare? Would it be Shenron? Would it be Goku? Would it be Dark King Mechibara? So I think from the product description, it did say like an iconic scene. So automatically it gets rid of Mechibara. He's not really iconic, he's from Heroes. And if you're thinking iconic, you think from the Dragon Ball series. And both Shenron and Goku from Dragon Ball Z, the most iconic one. I think, no, sorry, Shenron, given its era, is just basically from the original Dragon Ball, which still is pretty iconic because it's Shenron, like the majority of the series, they're summoning Shenron by gathering Dragon Balls to make a wish and stuff. So both these are iconic. But then it is the whole thing about, they've already done a Red God Rare. Why would they do a second one so early? So it could be the green one because they haven't done the green God Rare. It would make more sense color-wise to go red God Rare, yellow God Rare, then green God Rare. So that's the whole reason why people think it's going to be green, because but then it's not Gohan, it's a Goku. But then also because it's a Goku as well, because they haven't had a Goku one. So if I had Vegeta, Bardock, and then it could be Goku, because yeah, you know, like the Dragon Ball Love the Saiyans will have to like the main kind of race triggered and put into God Rare form, and also it's going to be a different kind of God Rare look as well. And luckily they did reveal the God Rare the day after, so the God Rare is Goku. Goku Peace Resolution, and it has this art as well, which I've seen before around, but I never realized this art was actually an official art from that's actually in the series. I thought it was just a fan-made thing or just like a special thing that people like just make, because people do make fan art for animes and stuff like that. I think there is like a huge one about Sonic, like it's a massive like Sonic community about making fan art for it, which is Sonic looking characters stuff. So I thought this was the same kind of thing, but no, it actually is probably in the series. Just forgot about it. It's been so long since I've actually watched properly and proper dedicated viewing to the series again. But that is cool. It does make sense. It does make more sense thinking about it before like speculation, yeah, because it's Goku. And if I remember this site, I probably would have thought of that. But I didn't realize this site was an official thing. And it does look really nice. Like how it's just got the art and then all the feathers around it are golden or that. Imagine how it's going to be textured. It's going to be a very good one. And the good thing about it is this set, like Collector's probably going to go nuts for it because it's Goku, the main character of the series, and a God Rare as well. So the hunt will be back on like it is from almost every God Rare set. Which for also the competitive players and the other ones, the casual players, the next set's going to be a lot cheaper because Collector's going to be coming in, buying tons of product to kind of go hunting for this God Rare, and then in a sense buy more product, putting more cards out there, and the more volume of the cards set is out there, the cheaper the cards become. Because nothing looks too oppressive, and there's no real staples like we've seen in other ones that are going to be like a strong one for each color that I can remember anyway from the set. But there are some good cards for attack choices and stuff. So yeah, that's the God Rare. And then we move on to the Premium Pack promo. So we've got a Premium Pack promo. I forgot that there's a Premium Pack, but yeah, there is one. And the promo we get for this one is a Yellow Goku being SSB Son Goku Results of Godly Training. Now this is quite cool because I think it's supposed to be more for, I'm not sure if it's meant to be for the old Wii deck or if it's also when they go with the Wii deck and also the new Goku Vegeta Yellow leader, because it's a free cost 20k with double strike. EX evolves for 1 yellow by drawing 1 on top of Yellow Son Goku and Entry 2, which kind of falls in with the old Yellow Wii deck. But then there's also a lot of 2-drop. There's some 2-drop Goku's Vegetas in the new ones, and I don't think we've got a Vegeta that's like this, even in the TPs. I don't think so. This could be both legacy support and new support. So that's quite cool. And it's got two autos. The first one is when this card attacks, choose up to a total of 2 of your opponent's battle cards or units in rest mode, ignoring barrier, and those cards won't switch to active mode during your opponent's next charge phase. So you can lock things down, which is quite cool. And then when this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, play up to 1 of your yellow Vegeta cards with energy cost 2 from your deck or drop, and then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So that's quite nice. It's a very good one. And this could be a very good one. This looks like very good support for the old yellow Whis deck, but then it isn't that great a deck to begin with. But some decks do get a big benefit from new support, like the right amount of support for any old decks can like make a deck that was probably terrible and never played or never like really playable to being actually very good. So like Vegeta is the best example of that. He kept getting support over and over, and nothing really made it any good until he got some Z deck support, giving it a new Z leader and a new Z battle card that made the deck a little bit more stronger and consistent. And it took it from being a never really seen deck in the competitive scene to being a very, very powerful deck in the format. So that's quite cool. So then we go on to the TV promos. We've got the first lot being the red ones. So we get Sun Gohan, Yet Unseen Hidden Power, being support for the new Power Pole Goku deck. Then we got Kami of responsibility to fill. I think a card that's supposed to be for the Power Pole Goku deck, but also, depending on the meta, could be a good red card, which is quite cool. And then we got SS4 Student from Another Universe, which looks to be a support card for the red Vegeta from the TOP set. So from all the way back from the original theme booster, support for that leader, which I don't think Eris will play. So that's quite cool. So with the Gohan, he's a cantrip, so when he's played, he draws 1, and he's got an activate main, limit 1. If your leader is a red Son Goku and you switch this card to rest mode, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and that card's blocker can't be activated for the turn. Can't activate for the turn. So that's cool, you can stop a card from blocking, but with red, you normally just go minus through their stuff, so it's not too much of an issue. But being a cantrip could be useful. Then we got Kami. It's a free cost 15k with a counterplay, which is limit 1 player's card. But it has a permanent where if your opponent's leader has a battle card underneath it, activate this. You can reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So that's what I mean by it could be a good one for the format. Because if there's some decks that put battle cards on their leader, this could be a good like tech card if that becomes like a meta relevant thing in red decks, which is quite cool. And it's also when this card is played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and that card gets 15k power for the turn. So it's like a more watered down Gohan that could be just dependent on the format really. But yeah, Gohan will always outclass this, always, just because of how strong it is. And the support for the old deck is SS4 Student from Another Universe. So he's got 2 autos. If your leader's backside is Saiyan Bond Vegeta, and your opponent has 2 more energy, during this turn you can activate your leader's Awaken, even if your life is at 6 or less. So it seems like similar to some support we've seen, like with the red Champa deck, where they got a card that can help it Awaken, even at higher life. The only problem is not being a Z card means that you've got to draw into it. That's the benefit of having support like this to help old decks be able to Awaken quicker because they're just out of date by making it a Z card to the battle card. So if this was a Z card, that would have been really good for like the stats it's got. But whereas it's not a Z card, you actually have to draw into this card rather than just have to combo and charge Z energy to actually play it. So that's one of the negatives of this card, is that it's not a Z card. And then it's got another auto, which is if your leader is a red universe 7 Vegeta and this card is in the battle, when this card's power reaches 20k or more by one of your leader's skills, play up to 1 SS4 Spirit Resonance from your hand with 2 markers on it. So that looks to be a does this be twofold, I think. I think this is from the TOP one. There could be a support for the TOP one and also the like expansion Vegeta one. That was like the first taster of Unisons. So I'm not entirely sure. I should have looked those cards up before to check about this. But overall, it doesn't seem like great support, but it's important nonetheless. It's legacy support, which is always nice for older decks. Then we move on to the other TPs that are revealed this week, being the blue ones. And funny thing is, if you paid attention to the set numbers down, you can see that the set numbers are in order for the red ones, and in this one it seems they skipped one, that because they have, Bandai did not reveal there's a Janemba TP, which if you go on the official site and look at the information about the set 21 events, about what's in the TP, they got like a little look at what's in the TP, so you can kind of speculate and try to squint to see what the effects are until you wait for them to be officially released. And there is a Janemba between the red ones and these blue ones, being promo number 501. They didn't reveal it. I don't know why. It's odd because they revealed the rest of them in number order, but not for this one, not for this lot, which is odd. So there's a Janemba we might see later date, or maybe even corrected today. But for the blue ones we got revealed today, we have a 1-drop Pilaf, Shu, and Mai Cunning Trio. We got a Sun Gohan Domination Complete, being the Pilaf, Shu, and Mai being a generic blue promo, which is nice. Then we got Sun Gohan Domination Complete, being a promo for the Red Blue Baby, and Oob preparing for another release, being the promo for the Blue Oob deck. So Pilaf, Mai, and Shu and Mai. This one is a counter attack, limit 1 for play this card, and is a 1-cost 4K. So just negate and play itself. You don't really negate attack, you just play the card in the counter step. And then you get an auto, which is when this card is played, draw 1 card. Additionally, if it's your opponent's turn, choose up to 1 keyword skill on your opponent's battle cards, and that skill is negated for the turn. So this one's pretty cool. How yeah, you negate the attack, then you get to opponent attacks, you activate this counter play the card, don't negate the attack's still going on. You then trigger the auto, draw 1, and then get to choose a skill on the attacking card or any of your opponent's cards, and then negate it for the turn. So that way, if they've got like a strike skill, you can take off the strike skill, so that's negated, so it's no longer doing like double strike or triple strike, it's just going to do 1 damage to connects. Or remove things like barrier off cards and stuff like that, because you're choosing cards on the skill, not the card itself, so barrier doesn't stop this, because you're choosing, as I said, the skill, not the card. And it's got a nice little activate battle, which is once per turn, place up to 1 card with a combo cost of 0 from your opponent's combo at the bottom of the deck. So it's really, really cool, because you pay to 1 play this out, draw a card, so you replace it in your hand, and you have this now on board. You get to take a skill off your opponent's attacking card, so if you're worried about a strike skill, you just knock off the card. And then after the battle, if they say combo the card that's got 0 cost to their combo power, then you get to just go place that from your combo to the bottom of the deck, and then combo with this to outgalv and attack easier, which is quite cool. You know, that's quite interesting. So it's like quite a fair, cool, and it kind of I can't remember what the name is of the card, but it kind of power creeps the old Shu from the old Pilaf card from set 2 that people were using. A similar thing, but it was all in the counter step, so you don't negate attack, but you get to play it, and then you get to use it as a counter, play it, and then negate a skill on the attacking card. And this is the same thing, except it actually draws, but it can be stopped a little bit easier because it's in the auto, not the counter, and then has additional effects. Then we got Sun Gohan Domination Complete, being a 3-drop 10k, because the Servant is going to be 20k, but just can't be sound in your main phase, which in your charge phase. And it also has an activate main with limit 1 if you're paying 1 blue. If your opponent has 2 or more energy and there's a card under a field extra in your battle area. I like the fact that it says field extra, meaning we could probably get some field cards that are like battle cards or other kind of fields, potentially, maybe. And that's the cost, and the effect is just play this card from your hand, and this card gains double strike for the turn. So that's quite cool. You can make it a little bit more aggressive with your blue baby, because you can just pay for 1 energy, a double strike 20k, 20k double striker that you can then bottom deck to your bottom of your deck with your leader's overlord to then draw as well. So that is very, very cool. I do like that. I am interested in the baby deck a bit more than I originally was, but yeah, time will tell if I'll try and pick it up, depending on if I can get some of these. And we got Oob preparing for another release. This is a 4 cost 15k, and it comes down for 1 because it's an activate main, which is limit 1. For 1 blue, if your leader is a blue Oob and you have 2 or more energy, and you choose one of your opponent's battle cards as the cost, play this card from your hand and add the chosen card to your opponent's Z energy. So that's quite cool. Nice little removal by moving your card off your opponent's board, a battle card, and put it into your Z energy, so it's out of the way. It is your Z energy, but it goes with the strategy of Oob. So that's a very nice card. And you've got another auto being, well, you got the auto on it being 1 blue. If you have 4 more energy, so quite late, and your opponent has 4 more Z energy, so quite a bit of Z energy, and you place 1 blue Mr. Boo from your drop on the discard as the cost. At the end of a battle in which this card attacks, play 1 blue Oob with original energy cost of 6 or 8 with a power of 3000 or less from your hand on top of this card in active mode. So yeah, that's quite cool. Not the greatest promo, but still you can get, it is a nice promo. It actually makes the deck a little bit better because you can go either one, it just goes from hand into the deck. But yeah, still it's nice little removal. Helps charge the Z card and also can yeah, pop out your big boss cards, which is cool. So that's all the tournament promos today. So we'll probably get the rest of them next week because we're still going into spoilers, and I think the TPs are all that's left. I don't think there's anything after that. Then we just have to wait for the release. But one thing we do have is we have some more stuff, and that is basically the ban list. Because I said that we did get the ban limit errata list, and it did hit a fair few cards. So with the ban limit errata list, with the list update, we did get 5 cards banned and 1 card errata'd. Well, we got a ton of cards errata'd, but most of the, there's a list of erratas on the list because if you remember, if you've seen most of the set, most of the new set has been poorly translated and has a lot of text issues. So there's a ton of erratas on it, the correct text issues from the newer set. But for cards that aren't from the new set, there is 5 bans from older cards and one errata as well. So no limits, just 5 bans, 1 errata, and we'll go through them a bit of it now. So the first one is banned Shenron. So Red Shenron, the Red Shenron leader, has been banned. And they did give it this reason behind it, and the reasons that never make sense because it is basically bullshit. But yeah, ban card, yeah, the Red Shenron lead, and the reason is because it has an overwhelming presence in the meta game for an extended period, and has limited creativity and diversity within red archetypes. It's not really true. There's been a fair few red decks, just has been so oppressive that you can, yeah, under the diversity, but not within red archetypes, just with the game and red. And then we believe that banning this card, deck diversity in the competitive landscape will improve, which is true, because the 2 red decks, this one and Gogeta, have been so oppressive that no other red deck really is worth playing when those 2 are in the format, and they're just existent means you can't really play anything of a different color without considering how it fares against those 2 decks. So they banned this one because of that. So that's quite cool. The next one they banned was the SS4 Gogeta. So both leaders from set 18 got banned because they're just too oppressive. And at least it took them a good amount of sets to hit them, which is what they normally do. Like if you remember Vertex, it took like what, 4 or 5 hits before it finally got the errata the leader, because they're just trying to get around not hitting the leader and then realize they had to hit it. And with this, well, I think I've seen people say that this is the first time they just straight up banned, and it's not. It's not the first time they straight up banned, because they did hit generic red cards to kind of like reduce the power of these 2 red decks. Then they actually hit cards from these decks to kind of reduce their power, and then got rid of the card that was got rid of the one leader that was really keeping them at bay without hitting them as well, but just hitting the leader that kept them at bay, and then decided, fuck it, let's hit him, because it has basically the same reason for a sim. So that's the second card banned. Then the third card banned is Gamma. So Gamma's Gamma's like 1 set older than the Sin and Gogeta, and the reason for banning this one is because BT18 what's it? 3-2. Apparently this card 32. You can basically tell how bad it is with Bandai when the majority of this set, like the majority of the new set, has had so many text errors from just using the wrong words or wrong phrasing that they've had to do a massive rat list, and even on their list as well. We'll go over some of them as well, but there's some loads of like where they just haven't proofread the post. Like they have no QAing department. They don't check things before they do anything, which is just piss poor, especially when it's a huge company like Bandai, like a massive multi-million-dollar company, and they're making like simple errors that if I had someone in my work do these errors, they would get fired straight up. Because the reason they have a card number, which is this is a card number for the Z leader for PyCon, when I think it should be for that. They should put BT17, not BT18, because they just don't check itself. But it has basically the same thing, same reason for the other 2, being that they just make it so there's no point in running any other blue deck, which is not true. There was still a fair few blue decks that competed. Just playing against this deck was just very annoying because it was just full on just like it did the same thing as the Goku. Just Goku had a limit on how much energy it could like have at a maximum, so a maximum of 6, and it could untap 3. But this one doesn't really untap it, but that one was untapping, so all untap hate kind of hit that deck, and then you don't like, and then like this card which fixed the energy without getting around the untapping and having tons of floodgates that were quite cheap and annoying. Like, it was just negate. It was just basically play out all your stuff, get free energy back at the end turn, negate, and just very annoying to deal with. It wasn't too bad, but it was just frustrating. Like, it was not a good experience. So they decided to finally hit it with a pretty shit reason why. Well, not the shittest reason, but not the actual full reason why. So that is hit number 3, and then we got a 4th ban, and that is SS4 Triumph, Gogeta Triumph together. Now you might be thinking, what is the point of hitting this card when you're banning the leader anyway? Like, surely if the leader is banned, this card is not going to be useful, which is not true, because this card can still be played outside of it. You just have to involve like a biggish engine of some of these, plus some of the Goku and Vegetas for unisons. Because I did have a pro from my channel when I did with Denzel about his Black Shenron deck, which kind of had the idea of using this because you've got a kind of a thing you can do, like a kind of combo. We can drop this and then use a certain desire card, which then makes both players shuffle their hand. We pick a card on either side of the field, put them all back, which would be a 1-drop on yours, 1-drop on your opponent's, or a 1-drop you've given your opponent. Shuffle all their board and hand back to the deck and draw 5 cards. Of course, this is not affected by any card that's not a Gogeta GT, so the extra card won't affect this button this back. And then both of you and your opponent have 5 cards in hand. And now your Gogeta can swing your opponent's leader, and then they've got hope they can out combo with their now smaller hand, or then be left at the end of the turn surviving with a very, very small hand, while you've still got this on board to block yourself and potentially bring back again. But they did give an actual good reason for this, because in conjunction with the new Shenron Secret Rare, this card promotes like non-interactive strategies all red decks can use, because they didn't think of this when they actually printed the card, how non-interactive it's going to be, apparently. And we find this synergy to be at a power level we deem excessive and promotes predictable and unavoidable play patterns. Therefore, we decided to add this card to the ban list. So it wasn't that, apparently to them, it wasn't that bad being in the Gogeta deck, being able to just drop it turn after turn and even save one of them by Z-Awakening to make sure it stays around for another turn. Apparently that wasn't obsessive, being searchable, like easily searchable, and easier combo, often more consistent to pull off. But because of this one secret rare, you can use it in any red deck, and well, it's not as powerful because it can't just clear your opponent's board, was the main thing, which is in fact you can drop it, clear your opponent's entire board, and then swing at their face. This one's just play out the secret rare, your one-off secret rare that you've managed to see, play that onto the board, bring this out that you've somehow managed to combo or get in the drop to bring out, and then swing with this is like their reason behind things is just bullshit. Then we got the 5th one, so we got one more ban, and that is for Dirty Burst. So yeah, Dirty Burst got banned because apparently this tech card that was brought in to deal with these two, with this tech card that was brought in to deal with Gogeta and Sin, because they have big, powerful 8-drop boss monsters that are like really strong, can come out very early, very annoying, very hard to deal with, and this card was found as a way to deal with them, to like kind of trap them from coming out and then stop them from actually pushing and oppressing you. Bandai decided to ban this because apparently it serves as an oppressive countermeasure to the most powerful finishes in the current environment, which is fair enough. While this card is very difficult to disrupt, yeah, because it's a counterplay, unless you counter it, you can't really stop that. And very few cards in other colours with a similar functionality, so we've chosen to ban this card to avoid over-essentialization of blue strategies in the current and future metagame. So essentially, rather than give more kind of things like this to all the colours fairly, they decided to ban this card and not give card like this kind of thing to other card games, because even though they want to promote diversity, they don't believe it themselves. So those are the 5 ban cards. Then we did have one errata, well, one actual errata is in fixing text on new cards that haven't been released yet, and that is on the Zeno Universal Control. So this card is a card that basically made the Goku Black deck irrelevant when it comes out, because it had just this card to just go, you need these new things, and just it never just ruin it. Same with like making a Wisamasu and any deck that was a God or Universe deck, making it irrelevant by having this card just comes down, ignores barrier, negates the indestructible, and just removes it from the game. Like from the game, it removes them. Not even to drop or warp, just remove from the game. And it was just it just as a card that was put it in a TP just to deal with those decks, and also make it so if any Universal God card deck existed, this card was a good side deck card for it. But they've yeah, after one set, they've it's been internally proven to impact current future of God and Universe theme archetypes, which aren't in the meta, which I haven't really seen play decked for this to actually shine because of how the format was. And they realize it's much stronger than they anticipated, and are issuing to Errata'd to it to mitigate the concern while retaining thematic integrity. So Errata'd in this card so it's not as strong to basically screw over every universe or god deck that comes out. And essentially what they've done is change it from being able to choose up to 12 of your opponent's battle cards with god or universe. Now they decided to just you may choose 12. So it's when this card's played, you may choose 12 of your opponent's battle cards. So you've got to choose 12 when it's played. You've got to choose 12 cards with God or Universe in their special traits, ignoring barrier. So you've got to choose them as the first bit. And if you do, you get negate their indestructible skills removed from the game. So it's no longer choose up to 12. Is you have to choose 12, which no one's getting 12 battle cards on the board. No one. So they basically errated the card when they should have just banned it. Like, they just ratted it to unplayability. They've done with some things before. Yeah, Bandai. But that is it for the, like, 5 bans and the rat limits. But there were some interesting things on the page, like with Cell Deck. So we have this Cell Deck that's just come out, and people were testing it on Untap, trying to have Ginger Town interaction and use Dark Power, Black Masayan, and Koisakai as a way to force your opponent to play tokens off their Ginger Town that you've given them, and then use things like Black Masayan and Koisakai to make them warp cards from hand to be like a very, if you can open the combo, get it consistently off, you're then going ahead and forcing your opponent to like lose a load of cards in hand without really any interaction. And Bandai put a errata on this card, which is not really an errata to correct the text on it. Like most of the erratas on the huge errata list we've got is to correct the wording issue with most of the set. But they decided to sneak in this little errata to fix this card because they realized that interaction and try to sneak this in. So essentially before it was normal, but on the front side they've now added a permanent which wasn't there before, any indication that was going to be a thing, to all battle cards in your deck if you're playing this leader must be green androids. Not just green battle cards, green androids, which very, very heavily limits what you can actually play in your deck. So if you're playing this deck with Ginger Town, which you don't actually have to do anymore, because you're at the other side as well, to make it so you don't have to. But if you're playing this card with Ginger Town, and you want to play it as it is, you're limited to essentially only be able to include in your deck green androids. So no other no even green good stuff support. None of that is in there. And if you play Ginger Town and then trigger that for the first time after you play a cell card, you then lock down to not having any green counters. So you have to combo every attack or try and use battle card counters, which you're limited to just one. I think it is literally just one, two, not one. It's two, and one of them's alright, and one of them, yeah, it depends on your opponent's Earthling tokens. So, Bandai tried to screw over this deck before it even had legs, and at least they left one good green deck in the set. So yeah, Bandai being Bandai. And on the Awaken side of it, they've now changed it so because they changed the wording on it, but the wording on this card now makes it so you don't have to include Ginger Town. You can avoid that shitty strategy by not including Ginger Town and still be able to kind of use this deck to a degree, because it used to be choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with entry cost of 3 or less from your drop or your opponent's battle area and place it on this card. So yeah, apparently it's you choosing your opponent's cards and your drop or on their board from it. Now it's just when this card attacks, draw one and then choose up to one battle card with entry cost of 3 or less from your drop or your opponent's battle area and place it on this card. So now you don't have to worry about playing Ginger Town. You could just on Awaken, put the Android 17 and 18 in your opponent's board, swing your lead, absorb one of them. If your opponent then doesn't get rid of the one in the battle area, then you just go ahead next turn, swing, absorb that from either your drop or their battle area, and then you can now Z-Awaken, because now you have you ignore the permanent, because you have both of them underneath. So that's one thing looking forward to, is trying this card deck out without Ginger Town, but just working on it is quite difficult with the heavy restriction from the front side. And we do have another thing with the list as well, with his Toa combo attack. So all the cards on there were like having fixes from where they didn't specify where they came from or what they got to actually do. They actually had all text changes, but Bandai seemed to forget about this one, because if you look at it and want to read it more than once, you're welcome to. But the pre-Errata'd text is exactly the same as the post-Errata'd text. So yeah, you read and check if I'm right or I'm wrong. But yeah, the text on both sides is wrong. The only thing there's a little change, and that's the only thing they've corrected it, which is very difficult to tell. I didn't realize until I was looking at it again, is that it changed from play one black unison with a specified cost of 3 and a marker on it to play one black unison with a specified cost of 3 with a marker on it. So they've changed like how it gets a marker, like and a marker on it or with a marker, but not where you actually play the card from. So it still doesn't specify where you play a card from your hand or deck. Like it is off a different deck, because they say shuffle your deck after you've had no interaction with your deck. So it's obviously from the deck you play it, but still they errated the card but needed to errata it again because they still forgot to correct it with where you play the unison from. Bandai being Bandai. But that is it for the reveals and the list and stuff. So from the reveals from the new set and the list update, that is everything from it. So all we have left is the Webcam Locals results. So start off with the Tuesday one, because we do it Tuesday and Friday now. We can see the Tuesday results. So this one had, I think it was 19 people. Yeah, pretty sure it was 19 people. And these results, so we had it being taken by Remy. So Remy taking it for the first time this year, for this year of playing of the locals, with his expert 21 going 4-0. Then we have second place being also 21 by MCG Drop with 3-1. And we got the next 4 being 3-1s, being Ricky from Deck Planet, coming in third place with his green-blue, going blue-green with it. Then we have Giovanni with his Red Sin, testing out for UKGE, going 3-1. Then we got Dr. QAing coming in with his Shroom Salsa, going 3-1 as well. And then Whippatron coming in with his Magic Cheetah, going 3-1 too. Well, not 3-1-2, but 3-1 as well. And then for the rest of them, we have them going 2-2, and that is Blue Hurricane, Yellow Barbady, going 2-2. Kasoma, Francisco, brother of Giovanni, coming in with his Yellow Kiku, going 2-2, pretty well. And then the Legend coming in with SSG Trunks, going 2-2 as well. And then Big O in 10th with his Expert 21, because obviously he can't play as well as Remy. Jokes. But so that is the first 10. And then we have the ever ones. So I forgot to change up the thing. So in 11th, we have Will the Weeb with his Geneva Mill 2-2, and then Top Platinum in 12th with his Rubik Pan going 2-2. Then 2 more 2-2s, being Eric in 13th with an Android 21. Android 18, and then Tom from Deck Planet in 14th with his Expert 21 going 2-2 as well. And then we have 3 more people that, 3 more people that actually stayed until the end, and 2 of them went 1-3, being Hongle with his Reboot Cell, and Chanar with his Massive Wish. And we had Abolol's Abo9 17th place, sorry, with Cumber going 0-4. And then we had 2 drops due to issues. I know Chris was on issues. 18th being Bombastic with Yellow Dundee going 1-2, and then Chris, the Baron, with his Gamma coming in last place at 19th going 0-2 drop. So that was for the Tuesday one. And for the Friday one, we had a smaller gathering of people, being 15 for the Friday one. And yeah, there's a lot of blue. So for first place, Big O redeemed himself on Tuesday, going 4-0 in Friday's one. Ike myself came in second with the same deck, Expert 21 going 3-1. Then we have Joe from Team TM Bill coming in with Green Caller, going 3-1, trying to make it a second coming with Green Caller, but unfortunately fell short by 1 game. I think it was only me he lost to. And then Errata'd Tom coming in 4th with Expert 21, doing a lot better than the previous day, on Tuesday. And then the last 3-1 being Blocky Stream with his Gamma coming in 3-1. Then the rest of them were 2-2s. So we had Johnny with his Golden Freezer in 6th. Peter with Jimmy Mill in 7th. Chanar doing a little bit better on Friday with his Massive Wish, coming 8th. Dan the Man in 9th with his Yellow Trunks, and AF Chicken with his Hat Jack as well. And then for the last 5 is where all the reds were, and some of the blues. So we had Denzel with his Great Priest going 2-2, which is pretty cool. Then we have Biscuit in 12th with his SS4 Kachia going 1-3. I don't think he had a fun time being held out by Blue and Hatchak and stuff, but it is what it is. And then we got Iona Rose in 13th with Android 18. Gentleman Jack in 14th with Goku Black, the reboot one, because no one plays the original one. And then Baron Chris coming in last place again at 15th with his Android 17 Evoker, because yeah, his favorite deck, or his main deck being Gamma, got hit, so he's trying to figure out which one he's going to play for the next format. So that is it for the Webcam Locals results and the reveals this week. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye for now.